Hi, my name is Britt Headland, and I want to talk to you today for a few minutes about religion in schools, which is a topic that we all need to be continually aware of and sure that we are doing the right thing in our own school. So, I want to start by talking about a few of the things in our Constitution that relate directly to religion in schools. And the first is the First Amendment, which guarantees freedom concerning religion and expression in assembly. It also guarantees freedom of expression by prohibiting Congress from restricting people to speak freely, and it guarantees citizens the right to assemble. The Establishment Clause is also important to know, and that just says that the government can't establish an official religion, nor can the government favor one religion over another. And then another thing that's important to understand clearly in schools is the Free Exercise Clause, which reserves the right of American citizens to accept any religious belief and engage in religious rituals. So, as part of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, to receive funding from that legislation, we as a local school district have to provide documentation to our state by October 1st that we do not have any policy that prevents or denies students the ability to participate in protected prayer. And what protected prayer means is that teachers can't lead prayer, persuade students to participate in prayer, or invite public speakers to come speak about a certain religion or with a religious intention. Protected prayer means that students can voluntarily pray before, during, or after school with other students on their own. But in order to receive our funding from this bill, we have to provide proof of the fact that we don't prevent or deny students the ability to participate in protected prayer. I want to talk to you a little bit about a few things that come up often in public schools concerning religion, and the most controversial issue would be prayer. And the Supreme Court has ruled that prayer becomes a religious activity and violates the Constitution when it's done in schools because of the Establishment Clause, which, just as a reminder, means that it is promoting one religion over another, and it can't promote a religion. So that has been ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. They've also said that the Supreme Court has also ruled that we can't have prayer at football games, before football games, at graduation, or baccalaureate programs. Another issue that's come up in the Supreme Court concerning religion is the Pledge of Allegiance because of the under God phrase, and the Supreme Court has not ruled whether that phrase violates the Constitution or not. It's left it up to the states, and it seems that northern states tend to say yes, that's a violation of the Constitution, but the southern states usually rule that it is not a violation of the Constitution to say under God in the Pledge of Allegiance at schools. Huge topic, especially today among school boards and local districts and state districts, is school curriculum. One of the biggest ones is talked about and discussed and fought over is creationism versus evolution. And the Supreme Court has ruled in Arkansas that schools can't remove the teaching of evolution from the curriculum, and they've kind of left it up to states to decide on how they will teach evolution. So that's been a big thing, but they can't remove it from the curriculum. Bible study cannot be taught formally in public schools, but the Bible can be taught as literature and as a book, a literature book, but not formal Bible study at all. Holiday programs must be of secular nature and support education or music as their theme, and students cannot be forced to participate in them. And then multiculturalism. Schools can't allow some religions to be taught, like Muslim or Judaism, but then discriminate against Christian beliefs. So the rights of students, parents, teachers, and administration. Students have the right to participate in religious activities the same as secular activities. Students can pray when they're not engaged in learning activities and on their own. They can gather on school grounds the same as others who express their views, or their secular views. They cannot harass others that have different religious views or other views, and they can't be favored or disfavored because of religion. Students can distribute religious literature the same as students who want to distribute secular literature. So, for instance, if the baseball team wants to put out flyers about a baseball camp, Christians can disseminate literature about their camps as well. Parents can choose to send their students to private school or public school. Parents who are Jehovah's Witnesses can refuse to salute the flag because of their beliefs. Amish parents can take their kids out of school at the age of 14. Parents can take their students out of classes that are discussing sex and sexual orientation. They have that right to remove their students from those classes. And they can have students excused for religious reasons the same way as non-religious reasons. For teachers and administration, they can worship and engage in religious activities outside of school, but during school hours, they are representing the public school and they may not do so during school hours. They may not lead class in prayer or Bible study. They cannot invite speakers to come in and speak about a certain religion or have a religious content. They can have moments of silence, but they cannot require students to participate in them, and they can't require them to happen. And teachers and administration can't pray at graduation or host a baccalaureate program. Those are just a few of the rights. Another thing that's important to be knowledgeable about is the Equal Access Act when it comes to public school buildings and facilities. This act is designed to ensure that student religious activities are accorded the same access to federally funded public secondary school facilities as are student secular activities. And what that basically says is that religious groups have the same access to school facilities as secular groups, that when student meetings take place, they can include prayer and Bible study. Student meetings can use media to inform students the same as non-religious groups can. And students can meet during lunch and recess. And also students can enforce that leadership of their groups must have the same religious beliefs. So those are just a few of the big issues that come up in our world today when we are dealing with public school and religion. This assignment correlates to our standard because it gave me the opportunity to evaluate the laws and the policies, rights, and regulations about religious freedom and then communicate them. I feel like it was a really good way to learn the importance of knowing the law where religion in schools is concerned. I looked for ways to understand the laws better by looking at the Supreme Court rulings and why they applied the Constitution the way they did and how it applies to education today. I also compared rulings between the Supreme Court and lower courts, and then communicated these through the presentation. It's relevant to my learning because I've never taken the time to fully understand the laws. I've just always kind of heard in the news and media what's going on and kind of relied on that. And I have never taken the time to discern myself about the cases and the rulings. So I think it's very relevant, and it's something that I want to constantly review, um, because parents and community are aware of these constitutional rights and laws, and so our school districts have to be as well. As a future school leader, I plan to stay current in my understanding of the law, policy, rights, and procedures related to religion and public schools. It would be my goal to discuss this with staff at least yearly to ensure that all teachers and staff members understand correctly what their rights are, what student rights are, what parent rights are. And then I also want to be a leader who's empathetic of all learners and their background, their religious affiliations, and support them as they grow and learn. These are my resources, and I want to thank you for listening to me today.